The average adult makes something like 35,000 conscious decisions every single day.
Wow. Yeah, that's a staggering number when you really sit with it.
Right. And for most of us, that overwhelming barrage of choices, well, it begins the very second our eyes open.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we reach for our phones, we check the news, we look at our emails, and instantly we're just reacting to the chaos of the world.
You're on defense immediately.
Exactly. But what if you could engineer a day where your brain doesn't have to fight that chaos? What if you could build a daily architecture that generates peace instead of panic?
I love that phrasing, generating peace.
Yeah. So welcome to today's deep dive. But before we look at the specific blueprint we have in our sources today, I want to ask you, our listener, to do something a little radical with us.
I think this is so important to do right at the top.
Yeah. Wherever you are listening, just pause. Let us start our time together today by taking a long, deep, audible breath. Inhale peace, and slowly, gently, exhale the stress of the day.
That is just a remarkably grounding way to begin.
It changes the whole vibe, doesn't it?
It really does. There is a profound psychological shift that happens when we, simply stop to notice our own breath.
Right.
It's pulling ourselves out of the abstract future and just firmly back into the immediate present.
And our mission for this deep dive is to maintain this exact sense of, well, unhurried calm.
Yes. There's no rush here.
None at all. We are unpacking a source text today that outlines a highly structured, remarkably peaceful daily routine. We're going to look at a document that tracks a single day, from the quiet dawn to the gentle evening reflections.
And, we aren't just going to read this like a daily schedule.
Right. No, we're going to analyze this routine through a very specific lens, which is the architecture of cognitive energy.
Right.
We're going to explore how we protect it, how we generate it, how we deploy it, and finally, how we reclaim it.
Framing it as the architecture of cognitive energy, well, it elevates this from a simple diary entry to almost like a clinical case study in optimized human behavior.
It really does.
Because when you study the text, it truly reads like a masterclass in mindfulness and habit building and, interestingly enough, in language learning.
Yeah, that language part is fascinating.
It really is. It breaks down the progression of a day into very small, deliberate steps that are deeply rooted in cognitive science.
So to you, the listener, right at the start, whether you are trying to master a completely new skill or preparing for a deeply stressful season at work or simply trying to find a tiny pocket of calm in what feels like a very chaotic world, unpacking this specific path is going to offer you a profound, usable blueprint for steadiness.
A blueprint for steadiness. I like that.
We are going to take our time today. We're going to let these ideas just breathe.
There is absolutely no rush. We can simply observe how this day is constructed piece by piece, starting with how this person chooses to, protect their energy in the very first moments of waking consciousness.
Yeah, let's start there. The source text begins early in the morning. The subject opens their eyes and immediately notes that their mind feels, quote, very positive.
That's a great baseline to start with.
Right. And then they look at their goals. They review their priorities. And they do all of this in a completely quiet room, intentionally avoiding all distractions.
The quiet room is key here.
Yeah, and the text explicitly states that this specific habit brings success. Okay, so let's unpack this, because it sounds incredibly simple, yet in our modern world, it is incredibly rare.
It is so rare.
It makes me think of, like, putting your phone into airplane mode so that it charges faster.
Oh, that's a brilliant way to look at it.
You know what I mean? You are intentionally cutting off the incoming signals, the notifications, the endless demands, just so you can preserve the battery and power up the system.
The airplane mode analogy is highly accurate when we look at the neuroscience of decision fatigue.
Right, going back to those 35,000 decisions.
Exactly. Every single distraction we encounter, a text message, a news headline, even a messy room, it requires our brain to process information and make a micro decision.
Even if the decision is just to ignore it.
Yes. Even the act of ignoring a notification consumes a small amount of mental energy. So the text deliberately pairs a specific physical environment, the quiet room, with a specific mental outcome, which is a positive mind.
So the quiet room isn't just about silence. It is about creating a protective boundary around the brain's cognitive load.
Exactly. By securing that quiet physical environment, they're engineering their mental state. They're establishing a proactive baseline.
Proactive instead of reactive.
Right. Most people wake up and immediately react to the world's demands. But this routine demonstrates the power of deciding what the day will be, reviewing goals while the mind is still clear, unburdened, and like you said, fully charged.
They are protecting their energy before the noise of the world is even allowed to rush in.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to the next phase of the day's architecture, transitioning out of that protected space and generating momentum. Because that morning was so deliberately calibrated to avoid distraction, leaving the house it's no longer seen as a frantic, stressful chore.
The transition from the quiet room to the outside world is handled with the exact same mindful intention. It's an active opportunity.
The text describes this beautifully. Packing a school bag, stepping onto the path together. And then there's this lovely sensory detail, feeling the cool wind blow.
Yeah, feeling the cool wind. It's so grounding.
But here is the critical action. While walking, the subject is listening to a phone and practicing English aloud.
Right.
The text states that every step is progress and that this daily practice brings confidence. Now, I have to gently push back on this idea just a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Is it truly realistic to maintain this level of relentless engagement? I mean, literally practicing a new language out loud while walking outside in the wind.
Right, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Doesn't that risk draining the very cognitive battery they just spent the entire morning protecting?
That is a very fair critique, and it raises an important distinction between heavy cognitive exertion and gentle momentum.
Okay, gentle momentum.
Yes. If we look closely at the mechanics of what the text is describing, this is not about exhausting, strained effort. It is a masterful example of habit stacking.
Habit stacking, right.
It's designed to bypass the brain's natural resistance to new tasks.
So instead of trying to carve out a brand new hour in the day to study a language from scratch, they're attaching it to a physical habit that already exists.
Yes, and the mechanism behind that is deeply rooted in how our neural pathways function. I mean, you already have to walk to your destination.
Right, you're already doing it.
And the physical act of walking actually increases blood flow to the brain, which enhances cognitive function and memory retention.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you just sit at a desk and try to memorize vocabulary, your brain can easily wander. It gets bored.
Oh, mine definitely does.
Right. But by pairing the steady physical rhythm of walking with the auditory input of listening, and then pairing that listening with the physical action of speaking aloud, you are engaging multiple areas of the brain simultaneously in a very low-stress state.
It turns an abstract learning process into a rhythmic physical motion.
Exactly. The text beautifully notes that every step is progress. It grounds the often frustrating concept of learning a language into the very real, tangible sensation of a foot hitting the pavement.
That's a beautiful way to frame it.
It hijacks the existing transit time, transforming it from a passive drain into an active generator of confidence.
It completely changes the entire texture of the morning commute. I want to ask you, the listener, what stands out to you when you think about your own daily transit?
That's a great question for them.
Or, those little transition times between one part of your day and the next. Are they usually a source of stress?
For a lot of people, yes.
Just a rush of traffic, anxiety, and reacting to podcasts or news that raise your heart rate? Or could they become a space for your own quiet progress?
Could you find a way to stack a gentle, rhythmic habit into that space?
Exactly, so that every step feels like a movement forward.
When you utilize transition spaces in this way, you arrive at your destination not depleted from travel, but gently energized by your own small achievements. You have generated momentum.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the third phase of our architectural model, deploying that energy into the world.
Yeah.
The confidence and momentum built during that active, mindful commute, well, it equips the person to tackle the actual friction and the challenges of the workday.
We see a distinct transition here from physical movement to intense mental stillness.
Yes, the source text details the arrival at work, followed by sitting with intense focus. It mentions using technology to learn and successfully finishing difficult tasks. But then there's a very clear shift. The routine moves away from solitary action and leans into collaboration.
Right, asking thoughtful questions.
Yes, asking thoughtful questions and sharing new ideas. The result of this balance is a well-managed afternoon that, as this source simply puts it, feels good.
It just feels good.
And here's where it gets really interesting to me. I'm noticing a very clear flow of energy throughout this day.
Ooh,
How so? Well, the entire morning was strictly inward focused. The quiet room, the personal priorities, the solitary language practice on the walk.
right, very internally driven.
But the afternoon turns outward. It is about connecting with others, sharing ideas, deploying the energy they built up. It feels like breathing, you know?
Like an inhale and an exhale.
Exactly. Inhaling the self in the morning and exhaling into the community in the afternoon.
That inhale-exhale dynamic is a brilliant way to visualize the deployment of cognitive energy. And if we look at the underlying psychology, those difficult tasks mentioned in the text,
Yeah.
they are manageable precisely because of the morning's priority review. The focus they exhibit at work is not forced. It's the natural byproduct of the clarity they established in the dawn.
They don't have to spend the first 2 hours of the workday deciding what to do because they already found true north before they left the house.
Exactly. And consider how technology is framed in this section as well.
Right. They say technology helps them learn.
Yes. During the workday, the text states, technology helps us learn. But contrast this with the morning routine, where they intentionally avoided all distractions, effectively keeping technology at bay.
They established a rigid boundary.
Very rigid. Technology is engaged only when it serves a specific constructive purpose, like completing a difficult task or facilitating learning. It is a tool they are wielding, not a master dictating their attention.
It is the difference between consciously using a tool to build something and, well, letting the tool use your attention to fuel its own algorithms.
That is so well said. Furthermore, because they have managed their energy so efficiently, doing the deep, solitary, focused work first, they still have the cognitive reserves left in the afternoon to ask thoughtful questions and share new ideas.
Because empathy and collaboration require massive amounts of mental energy.
They do. By architecting their days so deliberately, they ensure the afternoon actually feels good, rather than feeling like a slow, exhausting crawl to the finish line.
They are still in control of their own current. They haven't been swept away by the demands of the office.
Right.
But, eventually, the workday must end. The energy has been fully deployed. And after expending all that effort on focused work, finishing difficult tasks, and engaging in collaborative sharing, the architecture of the routine demands a deliberate phase of reclaiming that energy.
A return to physical and mental restoration in the evening.
Yeah. Because the process of winding down is just as critical to human performance as the warm-up, right?
Oh, absolutely. You cannot maintain steady progress without deliberate recovery.
The source describes returning home safely to a peaceful evening. And I just love the specific sensory details the author includes here.
Cooking healthy food.
Yes. It talks about the act of cooking healthy food, and it explicitly mentions noticing that the kitchen smells nice.
The smells? Yes.
And then finally opening a notebook. But they don't write pages and pages of reflection. They write just one line to capture the feeling that the day was steady and peaceful.
Just one line.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a moment, just like I did with the walking commute.
Go for it.
Isn't just writing one single line a bit of a cop-out? I mean, if the goal of journaling is to build self-awareness and process complex emotions, how does one tiny sentence actually accomplish anything?
It is easy to view it that way, I get it. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of behavioral psychology, what we are seeing is actually the profound effectiveness of minimalism in habit maintenance.
Minimalism and habit maintenance. Okay.
But before we get to the notebook, we have to look at the kitchen.
The nice-smelling kitchen.
Yes,
Yeah.
the kitchen. The text is describing sensory grounding. After a long day of living entirely in our heads, processing difficult tasks, speaking new languages, navigating complex social dynamics and technology, we become detached from our physical bodies.
You get stuck in our own heads.
Exactly. And this often traps us in a cortisol loop, where our stress hormones remain elevated because our brain is still trying to solve abstract workplace problems.
Oh, so we bring the stress of the office into the living room.
We do. We bring it right through the front door. But the physical act of cooking, noticing the smell of the food, feeling the weight of a knife while chopping vegetables, feeling the heat of the stove.
It pulls you back.
It does. These are primal sensory experiences. They interrupt the cortisol loop. They pull the mind forcibly out of the abstract anxieties of the future and bring it firmly back into the present physical moment.
Wow.
It signals to the nervous system on a deeply evolutionary level that you are safe, you have food, you are home.
Engaging the physical senses to quiet the racing mind. It's like a biological off switch.
That's a great way to put it. And that leads into the minimalist notebook habit.
Right, the one line.
Exactly. Once the nervous system is regulated by the sensory experience of cooking, the notebook provides cognitive closure. To answer your previous pushback about it being a cop-out,
Yeah.
so many people start ambitious journaling habits and quickly abandon them because it feels like a heavy obligation at the end of an already tiring day.
That is so true. Staring at a blank page when you are exhausted can absolutely trigger overwhelm.
It just becomes another difficult task to finish.
Right.
But writing just one single line, that removes the friction of perfectionism entirely. You are not demanding an essay from a tired brain. You are simply validating your own experience of the day.
You're acknowledging the steadiness without demanding more labor from yourself.
Exactly.
It makes me think of placing a single, elegant bookmark at the end of a chapter in a heavy book.
Oh, I like that.
You don't need to write a full summary of the plot of the chapter you just read to prove you read it. You just need to mark your place so you know exactly where to begin tomorrow.
Yes. One single sentence is enough to close the loop of the day. A gentle release. You close the notebook, and you close the cognitive loop.
And this nightly feeling of steadiness, it leads us into the final section of our analysis, the underlying philosophy of this entire routine.
The mindset beneath it all.
Exactly. Because the source text doesn't just give us a schedule of actions. It provides a framework for how we should view the inevitable struggles of learning and living. It is the synthesis of everything we've discussed today.
It reveals the mindset that makes the architecture possible in the first place.
The text ends with this incredibly gentle, beautiful encouragement. It acknowledges that wonderful work was done today. But more importantly, it explicitly states that mistakes are totally okay.
Totally okay.
Yeah. It says that mistakes actually help you learn. It speaks of the absolute necessity of having, quote, sweet patience.
Sweet patience.
And it asks the learner to trust their beautiful journey before finally saying goodbye until tomorrow. So, what does this all mean when we put the pieces together?
It's a big question.
When I look at the whole picture, I see a striking, profound paradox. The text demands rigorous, uncompromising discipline. You must wake early, seek a quiet room, review your goals, ruthlessly avoid distractions, actively practice a language aloud in the wind, sit with intense focus, and tackle difficult tasks.
It's a lot of discipline.
It is. Yet it couples all of that environmental rigor with immense unconditional emotional forgiveness. Mistakes are totally okay.
That paradox is the secret to enduring human progress. Yes. We so often mistakenly believe that discipline requires harshness. We think we must be emotionally cruel to ourselves to achieve great things, punishing ourselves for every misstep.
We beat ourselves up.
Constantly. But this text demonstrates a vastly superior framework. The beautiful journey it mentions, well, it happens because of the mistakes, not despite them.
Because if you aren't making mistakes, you are staying inside your comfort zone. You aren't pushing into new territory. You aren't actually learning.
To take that a step further, if we are terrified of making a mistake, we will never take the risk of practicing a new language aloud in public. We will never expend the energy to ask that thoughtful, vulnerable question in the afternoon meeting.
We just stay quiet.
Right. True progress relies entirely on this concept of sweet patience. This routine is fundamentally redefining success. Success is no longer defined as flawless, perfect execution of a task.
Success is redefined as steady, daily, forgiving effort.
It is the willingness to architect your day, show up, try your absolute best, make an inevitable error, forgive yourself completely, and try again tomorrow with the same quiet intention.
Sweet patience. What a lovely, vital phrase to hold on to. I want to remind you, the listener, as you navigate your own complex learning journey, whatever that may be right now, whether it's mastering a new language, navigating a deeply difficult season of work, or simply trying to build a quieter mind amidst the noise, you must allow yourself the grace of sweet patience.
Absolutely.
You're doing wonderful work, and your mistakes are completely okay. They are just the necessary stepping stones on your path.
It is a gentle reminder that we are always in a state of becoming. The architecture of a day is a practice. It is not a performance.
A practice, not a performance. Let's just sit with that idea for a second. We have traveled through the full architecture of a day together in this deep dive.
Oh.
We started in the quiet of the morning room, protecting our cognitive energy and calibrating our priorities far away from the world's distractions.
And then we stepped outside, stacking habits and transforming the simple act of walking into a generator of momentum and confidence.
We observed how that early protection and momentum allowed us to deploy our energy effectively into a focused, collaborative afternoon, using our tools wisely rather than being used by them.
Right. And finally, we returned to the safety of home. We reclaimed our energy by grounding ourselves in the primal, wonderful smell of a warm kitchen, interrupting the stress loops of the day.
We closed the evening by capturing just one line of peace in a notebook, accepting our mistakes with that beautiful, sweet patience.
It is a profound blueprint for steadiness, and the most beautiful part is that it is available to anyone, at any time. It just requires the intention to begin and the willingness to protect your quiet spaces.
As we prepare to say goodbye until our next deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. A small, quiet challenge for your own routine tomorrow.
I love a good challenge.
We saw how this path emphasizes the power of minimalism, writing just one line in a notebook at night to capture the day's peace and prevent overwhelm.
Right.
What if, tomorrow morning, instead of opening your eyes and immediately looking at a massive, stressful list of goals and endless obligations, you only allowed yourself to write down just one single word?
Wow. Just one word.
One single word that defines your deepest intention for how you will manage your energy for the entire day.
Just one word.
Just one word. What would that word be for you tomorrow? Take a moment to breathe into that idea. Take your time with it. Thank you for walking this quiet path with us today. May your steps be steady and your evening be peaceful. Goodbye for now.